Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be looking at graphs and network plots with bokeh. Let's get started. So let's go and start up a new file here, and we want to go in and let's save this as, let's put it here. So we want bokeh, and we'll call this something like graph network plots.py. And I'm also going to need to move my current directory because I know that I'm in the wrong directory. So we'll do something like cd desktop and then bokeh project. So whenever we run anything, it'll actually work for us. So the next thing that we're going to want to do is go on and get our standard imports. So from bokeh.plotting, we're going to import our figure. Figure and show, and then we also need to get in a couple different things. So let's do from bokeh.models. We want to import range 1D because we're going to do a 1D range, and then we also want to get in here plot, and then we also do from and actually we're going to move this up here. We want to grab from NetwortkX because we're going to actually be using NetworkX today. And then the next thing is import NetworkX as in X. And again, if you need to install it here, you can see I don't have it installed. I'm getting a warning in here. So we'll need to go on and install that. You can do pip install in here, NetworkX. And it'll go on through and install it for you. So and again, and if you guys are used to using Conda or anything else, you can install it that way as well. So now that we have that in, let's go on and actually create up a couple different things. So first off, let's talk about NetworkX. So this is definitely the easiest way to plot out network graphs, is to actually use the NetworkX module. Now this, again, what we'll be using in here is NetworkX. Is actually we're going to be using so have your graphs coming in from NetworkX and then importing it into bokeh. So let's go on and create some graph G, and we're going to actually just use a basic plot today. And again, everything in here today is kind of be randomly generated. So first off, let's go on and create a plot figure. Okay, and this is a little bit, again, this is because we're doing things a little bit differently. Okay, just pay attention to what's going to be going on. So today is P here is going to be a plot. X range in here is going to be our range 1D. So it's going to be from -2 to 2. And then our Y range in here, again, is also going to be a 1D range from -2 to 2. And then we're going to create some graph G in here, and it's going to be from NetworkX. And here we want to grab G in X dot spring layout. And what this will do is that it'll kind of allow things to kind of move a little bit, and it'll keep them close together. And then let's also add in some scaling. So 1.8, and here in our center is going to be at 0, 0. Now here, this is actually, we are creating a bokeh graph. Okay, this is a plot and figure. And again, let me add in something in here. And yeah, no, I think this will be clear for that. Okay. Now let's go on and do p.renderers, and then we're going to do append G. Okay, so this is big G. This is the full graph itself. Here is little g. This is going to be the graph from NetworkX that we're actually creating, and we're appending it to our plot. And then we want to go on and set up a default node as a circle. Okay, so we want kind of a dot in there. And so again, you could use a square or a triangle or whatever else you want as well. But again, usually with a graph here, we would want something like a dot or a circle. So we want a glyph, and then we want to update in here, update. And then here we want to be size. Let's make it, whoa, that's way too big. 15, and our fill color in here, I'm going to make it navy. So then let's also go on and set the edge property. So first we have our singular dots or our nodes, okay? And those we're going to have as just solid navy. Those are the actual, you can think about this as if we have supply chain networks or people networks or anything like that. So individuals or industry or whatever else is a single dot. And then we have the edges. Edges are how the network connects itself. So think about this as edges or connections. Okay, for those of you that don't know kind of graph theory. So we do graph, and then we want to do our edge renderer here. And this is going to be a glyph again, and it's going to be a line, and we want it a dash. And here we'll do 2, 2 as the type of dash that we want in there for the property. And we should be good to go if we do show P now. And let's give this a try. And again, it may take it a minute to render. So I'm going to go on and speed up the process here. Oh, and we have an error that popped up here. Here we see that I put a comma instead of an equal sign. So now, hopefully, we'll let this run again, and we'll take a look and see. And let's double check what we're actually wanting to do in here. Oh, and this is actually in here is scale. Sorry. I think I probably accidentally deleted that. All right. So here we actually have our nice bokeh graph in here, and you can see that it is nice and confined because of our spring. We have our navy nodes in here, and then we have a dashed line creating up the network image itself. Whoops. Now another thing that we can do, okay, is this is just talking about the network. We just created up the network. It doesn't give us any extra data or anything else in there. Maybe we want to do something a little bit different. Maybe we want to, and again, you want some interactivity with these things. Otherwise, it just looks like a nice static graph, and maybe it doesn't have a lot of information. So you want to, let's add in some functionality in there. We'll add in maybe some colors, let's say, so that each of the nodes are varying in color because they are individuals. And then let's also add in maybe some interactivity. Okay, so where we maybe hover over each of them and it says maybe person 1, person 2, person 3. And again, assuming that this is a social network graph. And again, it could be companies, it could be logistic routes, it could be cities, anything else that you would want to have it. So let's go on and actually add in some of that functionality. So first things first is we want to go on and grab in here a hover tool. And then we also want to get in some color, so some bokeh.palettes. We're going to import in here, and we want a categorical. So we'll do category, and since we're doing something like a 2x2, so we do 20 by 20. And then let's also go on and see what else we want to add in here. So we need to add in some new columns, as it were. So let's see where we want to put those. we need to add in source data in here. Okay, so we have our plot renderers here, and then let's go on and add in. Okay, so actually, you know what? I'm going to move this, put this here, because we're technically working on our nodes. So let's give it some extra information. Add data. So we're going to grab the graph dot node renderer. Okay. Well, not graph. Our G dot node renderer. And then here we actually want to do data underscore source dot data, and then here let's call this person. Okay, and then here list range the length of G. Okay, so I'm just gonna give them some numbers from starting 0 all the way going to however many we have in our graph in here. And then let's also go on and give in some colors in here, and I know that I need this much. Oops. And I want to change this to colors here, and this is just going to be the category 2020. And this should be, I'm pretty sure that this one is a list, so we'll leave it as such. And then instead of our fill color here, we're going to do colors. And then we are going to want to add in our tooltip. So let's go on and put that down here, p dot add tools here, and we want a hover tool. And we're going to put inside there, we want our tool tips, and what we'll have here is something like a person at person. Okay, so then what we're grabbing here, this person here, is going to be grabbing in whatever data number it is and displaying it as person colon blank. And so then we'll be able to have their ID in here, or maybe we can actually say something interesting. So person ID. So then, for example, let's say that you have a student network graph or customer network graph or anything like that. You could have a person ID or a person's information ID number linked with maybe a city's location number or something like that, and you can have all kinds of fun things going on. All right, so now we actually see our graph here. They are multicolored as we wanted them to be, and then also notice now whenever we hover over them, it says person ID 12, person ID 6, person ID 11. We have all of this extra tidbits of information that we can grab with us. So maybe we want to add in some other types of functionality, okay? Because what is nice about this is that yes, we have some highlights and some functionality here, but maybe it's difficult to see the connections between these, because like, okay, so this individual 7, does this line, well, technically we know that this line is going to 18, but it may be going to 11, okay? Maybe just the configuration makes it very difficult for you to know where the connections are. So let's go on and actually go about changing that, okay? And maybe we want to actually, do we want to change things up a little bit? You know what? I think we're actually going to just leave this as it is, so that we, you know what? No, let's actually go on and create a new one here, because what I'd like to do is let you guys play with a little bit different data. So I'm just going to add a O2. So what we want in here is from bokeh.plotting, we're going to import figure and show. Then from bokeh.models, we're going to import in here our range 1D, our plot, our circle. We want a hover tool, and we want multi-line in here, and then also from bokeh.models.graphs, we're going to import in here nodes and link edges. And let's want to make sure we had all of our basics in there, and we're going to we also want from NetwortkX. Oops. Put that up here, and then we want to import NetworkX as NX. And then let's go on and actually create up a random graph. And we want this a 15 by 30, let's say. And then let's actually create up a plot in here. So we want our X range in here is going to equal to a 1D range, and we want this by -2 to 2. And then we'll do the same thing for the Y range in here to be -2 to 2. Then we also want to have a lowercase g for our graph. So from NetworkX, we're going to grab g and x dot spring layout again. And then we have our scale is 1.8. Then we also want our center to be at 0, 0. So let's go on and add in our renderers in here. So we're going to append, append our graph. So we want to have our circles. So let's see, graph dot g for our graph, node renderer in here, and we want the glyph in here is going to be a circle, and we want the size. Let's actually make the size bigger, so we'll do 20. The fill color in here, I actually liked that navy. And then g dot node renderer again dot glyph here, and it's multi-line color in here. Line color in here. Let's do fire brick. Line width in here is going to be 4. So it'll be a little bit nice line. G dot inspection policy. Now the inspection policy in here is going to allow us to add in our node link edges, and what we're doing in here is when we hover over something, our goal is for it to highlight their connections. Okay, so we can do p.add in here tools, and we're going to do the hover tool in here, and tool tips is equal to none. Now I don't want anything, I'm not going to have any names or anything else associated with the data right now, but we still need this hover tool in here so that our nodes and link edges is going to work. Otherwise it's going to be defunct, and whenever we hover over anything, nothing's going to happen. So let's do show p. Well, it didn't like my render. So let me go back and let's double check and see what went wrong in this instance. Okay, so I was definitely being a little bit silly on here. We went through and notice here we have our node renderers in here, but what we failed to do, okay, notice we do have a hover tool in here, and so we actually forgot to give it our hover glyph. So what actually is going to happen when we make when our hover tool does anything, okay? It didn't know what we wanted it to do. So let's go through and actually do something about it. And you know what? I want to change this fire brick to something like light blue. So then we'll actually see a pretty big differentiation between our graph. So graph.node renderer, we want the hover glyph in here, and it's going to be, again, it's going to be a circle. Size is going to be 20, and we'll do the fill color in here is going to be our fire brick. And then g.node renderer dot hover glyph here is going to be the multi-line line color here, and again I'm going to do fire brick again, and then we'll do line width in here, and I'm going to make it actually a little bit fatter whenever it does this. We'll change this to line, no, not line, we'll do 5. So it'll kind of beef up a little bit whenever it does this. And also I'm going to go, and I went back up here before off camera, and I changed this to 0.8, and that's actually not something that I want. And I'm also going to change here, we want to actually make this line a little bit lighter. And so let's do something like line alpha here is 0.8. So then it's going to be a little bit transparent. So then, because what it is, we want this hover to really stand out whenever it does it. And let's actually even change our width here. I really want it to really pop. So let's change this line width to 2 as well. And it's still not wanting to render, so give me just 1 second to see. I may have my renderer messed up. And again, this is at the times when I really wish I could hear you guys probably screaming from the beyond. So what's happening here? Okay, so I instantly in here just did a autofill. Okay, whenever I did node renderer and node renderer, notice here this is a multi-line. Okay, so this line is for nodes. This line is for edges, okay? And the same thing goes for here. This is for nodes. And this line here is for edges. I forgot the very basics of graph theory. Okay, so what we need to go through and change is the second line in here to edge. And we need to go back over here and change this other one to edge as well. And let's go on and run this. And here we actually see that we have now our graph, all light blue with a light blue edging. Now when we hover over, we actually see all of the connections to see how they actually go through and have each of those connections. So again, this is very useful for those of you that do any type of network theory or graph theory or anything else. It's very fun to be able to have these interaction terms. And another thing that's kind of fun with these is you can overlay this on top of a map or anywhere else, so then you can actually see how everything works and runs. So if you guys like this, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.